Hey bookworms, welcome back to my channel and to another review. Today I'll be talking about The Switch by Beth O'Leary, which isn't from a genre that I usually read, it's a chick lit. But before I start talking about The Switch, if you are not only into girly books but also some scary stuff, this upcoming October I'm going to be uploading every single week and I'll be reviewing my favorite horror novels. So if you want to hear about my choices that aren't going to be those books you always hear about in top 10 lists, stay tuned for October. And let me know in the comments if you have any idea for a name for this series, because I'm really bad at names. Now, back to The Switch. It takes place in England and has two main characters, young Londoner Lena and her grandmother Eileen. Lena is a busy career woman who is forced to take some time off work to pick herself up after some burnout at work. Eileen reaches a new single phase in her life and is ready to start dating again, but she lives in a small village outside the city and knows pretty much all the men there already. So the two decide to switch houses and lives for 2 months. Lena will live in a quiet village where the weekly neighborhood watch meeting is pretty much the most excitement one can get, and Eileen will try and meet her new man of her dreams, maybe, in crazy non-stop London. And despite some shaky beginnings, both women manage to some extent thrive in their new environment, impact the life of other people around them, and learn a thing or two about themselves. Guys, this was such a sweet book. I enjoy reading it so much. If you've seen my other reviews, you know that this really isn't my taste, but I really liked this one. Let's face it, some of the book is rather predictable. When you start reading a book like this, there are a few things you know from the start are going to happen, and they did. But it's okay, because this book is a heartwarming story that wants to tell you to change your perspective, not claim to change your life. I rather like the book's message, which is basically about how people, young and old, country folk and city people, need other people in our lives. It's about communication, about seeing other people, about relationships, and not just the romantic ones. Eventually, we need people in our lives, and the book kind of shows us how, because it's such a universal thing, it's easier to meet new people and make friends as one might think. As a person who moved to a very big city a few years ago and finds it very hard to make new friends, I actually took some of the advice to heart, and let's see, maybe I could be a bit more Eileen and meet new friends. One thing I was worried about here was that I fear that this book is going to go into the good old way. It'll show that older people knew how to communicate and young people don't have personal interactions anymore and city people have no soul and yada yada yada. I bet you heard those criticisms before. But the book isn't pretentious like that. Instead, it shows how young people's energy can help, how the internet can be a way to reach more people, and how new ways of seeing things can actually save a person's life. And at the same time, sometimes being direct like a nosy old lady and talking to a person instead of sending them an email is a better way to approach things sometimes. But if I have to find a negative, it probably has to do with this predictability that sometimes just seemed contrived. Especially, there was one thing that really bugged me, and I'll try to talk about it without getting into spoilers, even though, honestly, as you'll read the book, you'll probably guess where things are going. One thing I don't like in those lightweight books is that in order to teach us a life lesson, they give unrealistic villain properties that would come out of nowhere to one of the characters, so that way they can be represented the bad side. The main character will have to learn a lesson, and this means she'll have to stop her relationship with a certain characters because she will learn that the life that the character represents isn't for her anymore. But instead of making that bad character a human being with some merits, like in real life. Sometimes you realize that people who you actually like or do have something to offer are the ones who are in the long run aren't doing you good. So instead of doing that, the character will have a positive influence on the main character's life at the beginning so that we'll know why she liked them, and then all of a sudden they will turn evil, be less supportive, and eventually leave the main character no other choice but to completely cut them out of their life because they always betray the main character in some way. You've seen this plot point so many times, you probably know what I'm talking about, especially when it comes to romantic relationships. I want for once to see a case where a main character actually finds herself falling in love with two good, nice, positive guys and needs to choose one of them without any of them being the obvious choice and, you know, the other one being the villain. But that's about it when it comes to negatives. But before I finish off, I do want to mention that there is a very important subplot here about loss and dealing with trauma and how grief stayed with you forever. You never really get over it, you just adjust. I know some people would read or gift a book like that as a happy distraction or to cheer up. In case that was your intention and the cheering up was due to a loss or knowing that you're about to lose someone, just know that there is a topic here about that. I did like how they treat dealing with loss in the book, and it's somewhat cathartic eventually, but you know, it's not for everyone, so just be aware of that. And that's all I have to say about The Switch. It was a very sweet book, heartwarming, lightweight, and this is what I was aiming for, this was what I was expecting, and this is what I got. So if you're in the market for something like that, then this is the book for you. I also heard that other Beth O'Leary's books are also like that, you know, lightweight but not stupid. So if you have any recommendations, please make sure to share them in the comment section. So guys, that's it from our review. Thank you very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to click the like button to show your support and subscribe to my channel if you dare. Also, comment down below if you have any ideas for a name for my October series. That would be greatly appreciated. So guys, again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.